Good afternoon and welcome to our last meeting of March. We had a few people in the audience and hopefully a few more watching us on our city television channel. The invocation tonight will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem Matt Harbin, and respects to the flags will be led by Councilman John Roberts. Please rise.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, I pray for our city, our state, our country, and especially the communities that were hit with the tornadoes and the tragedies in our country. We keep these communities in our prayers. I pray for our council, our management team, our division leaders, and each employee on our city team. Continue to bless our city, and I pray that this council makes wise decisions. In your name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes of our March 13th meeting have been distributed in the packets and by email. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Not hearing any, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
First by Mr. Newton, second by Dr. Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh. Those minutes of March 13th passes unanimously. We don't have any old business. We have 4 items of new business. And the first item of new business is to request consideration of an ordinance authorizing and directing the City of Anderson to enter into a intergovernmental agreement relating to South Carolina local revenue services to participate in one or more local revenue service programs, to execute and deliver one or more participant programs, supplements, and other matters relating thereto. Ms. McEwen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You hear us talk a lot about this program, Municipal Association. It's a 12% of our general fund budget, so a significant source of revenue for us. 33% of our general fund budget is business license tax based, so this is 12% of the total budget, though, for that, so 12% of 36 million. If you look down, you can see the significant numbers there. There's an update that took place with this, and Ms. Margo Martin prepared that along with Lisa Holdens here tonight, our business license administrator, and they're going to go over the details of the background with you on this and the requests.
Okay, thank you, David. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the City of Anderson has been participating with the Municipal Association in their collections of the insurance tax, the broker's tax, and the telecommunications tax since 1994, when the first year of the program. So with the Act 176, the business license change in 2020, they rebranded their program. Instead of being the municipal collection program, they have changed it to the local revenue services program, and therefore they are requesting that all cities who participate in this program update their ordinances and agreements to reflect the brand name change. There are no changes in any of the requirements with this program. So we are requesting that we give approval on first reading for this ordinance so that we can continue to participate now in the local revenue services program.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I guess maybe my comment would be, in my time serving as an officer on the Municipal Association Board, I can't remember exactly how many cities participate in it, but
The majority.
the majority of the
Right, you
cities
just have some small towns that
don't.
don't have administrative staff.
And that kind of, you know, the way the Municipal Association audits insurance companies and telecommunications audit, it just, they have it down pat. So that would be my comment.
And I will say, this act was significant. It was talked about for 4 different legislative seasons, changing how the business license collections were done. And there were a lot of negotiations back and forth about who should collect. At one time, they mentioned the Secretary of State as an option. It was kind of being floated out there, and that didn't go over real well. And then through a lot of negotiations, and then the Department of Revenue, but through a lot of negotiations, they recognized the reasons why Municipal Association is a good agent to continue collecting this program on behalf of the participating municipalities. So the General Assembly came around on that, and they recognized how professionally done it was. And then, like the mayor said, when it's audited, they act as our agent, the business licensed official for the collection of this. And also there's an appeals process, so they handle that as well. And so it's been a great program for us and every other municipality. And you can see the increase in revenue. It's every year like this. I guess the only difference where there was a dip in all business license revenue was during the 08-09 recession that you saw, but ever since that, it's been growing. So we recommend first reading, and if you have any questions, we'll answer.
Do I have a question, Ms. Stewart?
Just looking at the agreement, just want to make sure I understand, in the past, the municipal association has collected this amount for us, is that correct?
Yes. So your question is, have they collected this for us?
Yeah, who's been collected it in the past?
Municipal Association.
Yeah, the municipal association.
And we're a member of the municipal association, right?
That's right.
And the fees we've been paying them, I guess, took care of that, is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, under this agreement, I see there's two things. It's the local revenue service agreement and the participant program supplement. So now I guess we're paying two different entities. We're gonna pay the municipal association, who's been collecting the fees in the past, whatever they did. So now we're gonna be paying the LRS Board of Directors 4% of the gross revenues of all benefits we collected, plus other operating expenses and everything else. So what does that amount to that we're paying this new entity?
Okay, so when we talk about the municipal association, we talk about that broadly, right? So they have arms of the municipal association. So one of them would be the insurance program, would be our self-insured insurance program for risk management. Then this program. So you're not paying them double here. They're rebranding themselves as LRS, and you're paying them the fees, and the fees haven't changed from currently what they're collecting. So nothing's changed on that.
So we were paying them 4% originally.
Yes.
Yeah, LRS is under the Municipal Association.
It's actually the 4% that you're reading. Correct. It's under the municipal association, so it's just another arm of the municipal association. They have several different branches out that do different functions, like I guess one of our divisions would be. So when we say municipal association, it's just broadly said like that, but you're paying them for the collection of this. And it's the fees did not change from currently the contract we're in to this.
And so this is a two-part agreement. One is the revenue services agreement, and then the next document that we'll need to execute at some point if it passes, the participant program supplement. Is that correct? That's what I have.
We currently have these agreements with the municipal association. These are just agreements changing the name to local revenue service. It's the same agreement, just name change, rebranding they were doing.
Same agreements, and then like when you see like 2% of gross premiums for title insurance and fire and casualty, I mean, this is all spelled out by state law, so they can't change that. And then there's another one in here that talks about 6% of broker's fees. Well, 4% of that goes to state, so the Department of Revenue collects that. 2% is collected by the municipal association, and this is beyond what we would be able to collect individually as a municipality if we were trying to take this out on our own.
And I was just wondering, what is that amount going to, is it going to increase every year? Because it says under payment of services that initially we will start out paying 4%. Well, what is it going to go to, 10% next year, 8%? Is it at their discretion or?
Well, you got to remember, I mean, they could change it, and they would have to come back with an agreement on that as well. But and the mayor can speak to this, but the board of the municipal association is represented by municipalities, and so there's always been really no talk about that. I know about 6 years they considered a small increase in it, and I don't know what the board did at that time. Mayor, if you can remember, if you were
And I
there.
even noticed that the local board that's mentioned in this document is the president and the vice president, the officers of the municipal association. So you have mayors and council members on that board that that are very attuned to cost of cities, and so, yeah, open-ended question, it could go up, but the people who run the board are elected officials.
But anytime, if it went up, it would come back to us and they'll say, hey, we're going up from 4% to 5 or 6%, or that just by signing this agreement, they can just arbitrarily do it because they're collecting it and we have no say-so in it.
If the board of directors of elected officials of the municipal association decide to do that, they would send us a letter advising that in advance. And we could talk to them about that, we could bring it to council, we could exit the agreement, so forth, so.
Ms. Harbin?
Ms. Martin, I know you're a numbers lady and you like for me to ask questions. So, like 18 to 19 was an increase. I'm looking at the first page of our packet. And 19 to 20, 20 to 21. What do you attribute the 30% increase from 2021 to 21-22? And do we anticipate that for 22-23?
The problem with the budgeting for those numbers is we don't find out till the last week of June. So currently, the budget that we're working on, I'm budgeting $4 million again because, but I think the big thing is your telecommunications and your insurance premiums. As the insurance premiums go up and as we expand our areas and annexations, so now you have insurance, so that's what we contributed to is our growth.
So do you think it had to do, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'll add to that. So of course, as we add more housing, right, and more policies are written on that, we're going to receive more on both, all three
This population
programs. And so that's what's happening. We're realizing a couple of things: more houses, more people, more policies, and then on top of that, the value of the house going up, and so then the value of the policy goes up. Even value of cars goes up, and you see that change, which we can see that in real time, kind of the change of that from our real property tax collection. So I would attribute that to it.
So did it have anything to do with reclassification that was done?
Not this.
No,
This doesn't.
That reclassification's on our retail business license.
Okay, that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd make a motion that we approve this agreement.
I have a motion on the floor, Mr. Harbin, Mayor Pro Tem,
I'll second it.
second, and Lewis. Mr. Martinez has,
Yeah, just
Comment.
wanted to further clarify to Councilman Harbin's point. And David, you mentioned this in the beginning. So we typically allocate about 12% of our budget towards the MSC, is that correct?
So we budget 12% of our general fund revenue
Gotcha.
that we're receiving of this amount. So it's up to, our budget this year looks like it's going to be 36 million. So, but we're going to budget around 4 million, just to be conservative, see what happens. But, so it's around 12% of our general fund revenues.
Very good. Okay. Good. I'm good with it.
And the revenues are already net of the fees.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Lockridge.
Ms. Mark, I got one question. If we did this ourselves,
Please don't.
You got to hire a lot of people.
that's the answer. I
We-
say no
I'm
more.
sorry,
I
sir, that
understand
was-
what
We
you're
would
saying.
actually have to
Professional.
contract that auditing
thought
and
so.
services out to a firm, like a accounting firm, to do that. Because it's that high level.
It's just
I mean,
that I
you're
understand.
dealing with State Farm corporate at that point in
I
time,
want-
and
yeah.
all state
I want the
corporate.
people of the community to know.
Right.
This is a very valuable resource that we have here.
Right, we've been doing this for 30 years with the municipal association. This is just a rebranding that we're asking for tonight.
I think one of the things, if I remember right, the telecommunications dollars have gone down just because of the way
The land
that
Streaming too.
the streaming
Streaming significant on that.
systems, the things, and I think at one time, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I think that was one of the figures, is that, the telecommunications part of it.
And we have been forecasting that out, but, so even with the decrease, because people are dropping off, the package, the the internet, telephone, and TV packages and dropping that off, so we don't get it off streaming and so forth. So say they're just getting an internet connection, well, we're getting less revenue off that. However, with the addition of more houses and all that, we'll calculate that in our forecasting. But right now, we're kind of keeping it steady.
Yep.
Because of that decrease that's happening from the subscription base.
Great. We had a first and a second. Any further comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously.
Thank
Our
you.
second item of new business is request consideration of financial auditing services contract for the city of Anderson. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, it's time for us to do a request for proposals, and that's what we did here for auditing services. And so with that, Ms. Margaret Martin will go over this as well.
Yes. Okay, so we are requesting approval of a financial auditing services contract for 4 years. Our contract currently is with Green Finney Colley, and it just ended with our last audit that was presented to you in December. We issued an RFP February 1st for this service to 4 firms that are known for governmental audits, Green Finney and Colley, which is our current provider, and they also recently merged with an Anderson firm, Colley. Malden Jenkins, Argo and Associates, and Elliott Davis. We also posted this on our website. The city had 2 responses, which were Green Finney and Malden and Jenkins, which I've summarized their information on your summary, executive summary. Green Finney does the annual audits for school districts 1, 2, 5, as well as Anderson County and Anderson Regional Joint Water System and 70 other South Carolina governments. Based on our previous experience with Green Finney Colley and the fact that their fees were much lower proposal, we are requesting council to approve awarding the financial auditing services to Green Finney. Since we are recommending a 4-year agreement to this firm, we do have the option of partner rotation. This means that David Phillips, who normally presents, would not be the partner in charge, but one of the other firm partners, Larry Finney or Ken Meadows, would be the partner in charge for, quote, a fresh set of eyes if council wishes to pursue that option. So we are requesting approval of a 4-year agreement for Green Finney for $212,000 with an annual average fee of $53,000.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
I'll make a comment, Mayor. Outside of it being cost effective, and I know we want to be good stewards of our finances, I'm always going to be, pro using services if we have something local. I'm aware of this firm. I think they carry high integrity, and I would say, without ending and making a motion, I just would think it'd be wise for us to continue to use them.
First by Mr. Martinez,
Second.
second by Mr. Lockridge. Further discussion?
Will we recommend having,
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kyle.
okay. I mean, that was going to be my next question, is would we recommend that? To
Sure.
Swap out the
I
park?
think it'd be smart.
You'll have a new set of eyes.
Yeah. And so would you include that in your motion?
Yeah, so I would make a motion that we continue and award the contract to Green Finney with the opportunity for us to use another partner to put a fresh set of eyes.
You good with that, Rick?
Still second.
Still second.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, that passes unanimously. Our third item of new business is request consideration of an amendment infrastructure reimbursement agreement providing for an additional extension of reimbursement period for Stonebridge Phase 2. Mr. McEwen?
Okay, I'm just going to read the background real quick for the public's benefit as well. I know council's familiar with this issue, having a work session on March 13th and February the 13th. The city entered into an infrastructure reimbursement agreement dated November the 13th, 2017, providing for reimbursement of infrastructure improvements for Stonebridge Phase 1 subdivision. The agreement provided for an extension of 5 years of the reimbursement period if Phase 2 of the project is begun prior to the end of the 10-year reimbursement period. The developer has requested, and we recommend, an additional 3-year extension of the reimbursement period. So how this works again is 45% of the tax revenue received from the development itself. So what it's actually realizing in revenue, and then 45% of that is remitted back to the developer. So with that, I know we've talked about this at length, but the city staff recommends we move forward with amending the infrastructure reimbursement agreement from 5 years to 8 years, so extending it by 3 years. And they would have to start phase 2 to qualify for the extension.
Thank you. Questions, comments? We've talked about this a few times over the last several months.
Mayor,
Mr. Roberts?
this is has been a highly successful development and one which I think the city should be proud of. It's very well done. And I think this is a reasonable request to help them see it on through in phase 2. So with that, I recommend that we extend the reimbursement agreement for the 3 years.
First by Mr. Jeff Roberts, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes unanimously. Our last item of new business is request consideration of a new contract for IT managed services and cybersecurity. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, obviously this is a big one for organizations all over the place to, of course, not only have your in-house staff managing your IT services, but for the backups, for the cybersecurity side of this. And so Mark Cunningham's going to go over this. We will not be asking for action actually tonight on this. Mark just shared with me some additional information between the vendor, and we want to dive into that and see between the two finalists. But however, we want to go ahead and let you know what we have out there while we have the RFP out there and what this does. So, Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you. We've been using some type of an IT managed service provider since we started having a network back in the 90s. Back then, it was mainly phone support and on-site support. They'd come over and give us assistance when we needed. That's evolved over the years to where they actively monitor our networks. The same provider that we began using back in the 90s, they've been purchased a couple of different times, but it's essentially the same group, much larger group now than it was back then. They're based out of Spartanburg. 7 years ago, we came to council, we put out an RFP and selected them to be our preferred partner. That was for a 3-year period. We did another RFP for another 3-year period, chose them again. That contract has been going month to month. It expired about a year ago. So we really wanted to take a look to see what else was available, what else was out there in the market, what other things we might need and what we may have been missing. And so we did another RFP a few months ago. And as part of that, we selected 2 finalists. And again, this provider they'll install a probe on our network, and that probe will monitor us 24/7. Anytime that there's any type of anything that goes wrong that we need to be made aware of, they'll notify us immediately. This also provides our off-site and on-site backups. It provides cybersecurity and things that keep us protected and keep us safe. As David said, we did find out some information just before the meeting that makes us want to review both of our finalists again. But we wanted to go ahead and brief you on where we are in the process and hopefully come back to you soon. But this is a essential part of what we do on a daily basis. These providers have certified engineers in areas that we would not be able to afford to have on staff. And so, it provides us a great service. So we just wanted to let you know where we are and that hopefully we'll be coming back soon.
Great. I don't know if we have any questions right now. I will make a statement. Resemble that early 90s and late 80s where before we had computers and networks, and I know that people come at us a lot now just trying to get into our system, and there have been cities that have been held hostage and ransomware, and so how many people work in IT now?
We have 3 IT, myself, Jason Nixon, who's right here, and Kendall Bryant. Then Patrick, who handles our social media and our TV station and all of that kind of work. He's our media manager. And then we have Ashley Pruitt, who's our GIS coordinator. So really just 3.
3?
Right now.
Yeah, I know it's a big job. It's become bigger.
And I gotta say too, so, you know, you're familiar with Atlanta was attacked and still trying to recover from a couple years ago. And what happens with municipalities particularly is, if there's civil unrest or some issue going on, you have anonymous groups start to attack you during that time frame. We've seen that happen across the country, and we've been monitoring that. We were attacked about 2 years ago, Mark?
A little longer than that.
Okay, and we were
4 years ago, I think.
Was it 4? It's gone by that quick. And it was one of the, you know, where the same thing they did in Atlanta, basically just lock up your system, encrypt it, and then have the ransomware payment that they request. Of course, we did not entertain that, and we didn't need to, because Mark's team was on top of it, and all we had to do is roll back to another backup that we had that was fresh, and we basically didn't lose much time, just a couple hours, and we were back in business, and we didn't, you know, tell the hackers to go home. So, and we cleaned our system. So it was really good there, and so we stay on top of it, but we do, and y'all get emails sometimes too, we do get attacked quite frequently through the emails and then other ways trying to penetrate the system.
Good. So any questions before? I would understand you probably come back to us at a later date to
Yes.
take action. Good. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Administrative briefing, Ms. McEwen.
Okay, I'll turn the first part of this over, and then I'll just have just a quick announcement for you guys. But to Assistant Manager Andrew Strickland to go over East Market Street, parking garage, graphics, and signage. He's gonna hand it out.
Need one more here.
So I'm passing out to you.
Sir, sure.
Microphone here. When we built the parking garage, we envisioned just a ton of people using it being very successful, and there being some sort of need for wayfinding signage in the future, directing people through the garage, how to get to different floors, how to access elevator stairs, that sort of thing. Well, so we're here now, up on the roof, open today. We have a lot of people visiting the garage, starting today. We've had a lot of people visiting anyway. The city has partnered with H3 Marketing, it's formerly Martin Holland Advertising in Anderson. They've come up with a few concepts for us. Staff has narrowed down to the concept you have in front of you for a series of vinyl clings around the elevator surround and stairwells throughout the parking garage. In addition, they'll be adding some mapping, some custom maps. We'll also incorporate the Up on the Roof logo to let people more easily understand kind of how to get to Up on the Roof and which elevator they need to use to get there. Up on the Roof is vetted this with us as well, and they're happy with and excited about the opportunity. But our next step, if you guys are okay with this, this design is we have brought this and should be getting a price back pretty soon from Palmetto Digital's our partner that does these vinyl clings. So we should be getting a price back pretty soon on that to install these throughout the garage. But I wanted to make you aware, let you know this was happening, and let you see where the design landed. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you got.
I know you said staff may direct or pick this one do we have the opportunity to look, see what the other choices were?
I can send those to you, yeah. Those are
I'm
pretty.
just curious.
Yeah,
I'm
those are
saying,
pretty-
I'd just like to be able to say, hey, here's what this looked like.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can send those to you. It's pretty clear that this one is more in line with our theme as a city, so.
Is the Whitney Street parking garage going to have any signage like this in it with the elevators and all that, even though that's a parking garage, but still, but.
Yeah, so we are certainly evaluating all of our wayfinding throughout town. We're hopefully going to bring you guys pretty soon some really exciting updates on the citywide wayfinding, community-wide wayfinding. But yes, we will intend to move in subsequent years, subsequent months even to look at Whitney Street.
And the Whitner one has some, they didn't really do it by floor number, they did by letters, and so it has some, but it could be upgraded. It's been a while.
Yeah, and so it has a little bit of wayfinding, but we need to beef it up a little bit to match. The priority has been Market Street just because of that.
Got you. Any other questions, comments?
Real quick, the first floor one, I mean, I'm just sort of, I think that's where I can't speak for Councilman Stewart, but I think that's what he was, at the first floor, it has that Explorer Anderson map.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do we have that map at the Whitner Street? Maybe this would be a good time to put the map.
Yeah,
in
right.
both of them.
So, well, and that map's gonna change a little bit, but yeah, no, that's exactly right. It'd be a good time. to
But
put
it
that
wouldn't,
in.
maybe not like a long-term map, something to put up, because it'll change.
Well, and that's why we love using these vinyl clings. We use them at Rent Pavilion.
Yeah.
For art installations on the walls. The product just adheres with heat to the wall.
Yeah.
And you can take it down really easily, and it's inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if we're gonna put one at this one, at least put that one, so when people are walking out, they can look around and see where to go.
It's a very good thought, absolutely. Good thing.
Good comments.
I was going to say, I love the fact that we continue to talk about consistency. I think it's good for us to continue to use similar color palettes, make sure that we're kind of staying consistent with the theme through downtown, because I think that adds to the overall experience. So from what I'm seeing, this looks really good.
Excellent, thank you.
Good, all right, well, we wanted your input on that and let you know it's on our plate to continue improving. The garages and the wayfinding too, we'll be talking about that really soon because we got pricing coming in to actually implement it. And so that's gonna look really good as well throughout downtown as Mr. Martinez was mentioning. Want to make a quick announcement. So Thursday, March the 30th, this Thursday at 5:30 p.m., we will have the dedication of the Recreation Complex multi-purpose field. I know an invitation was sent out to all the council members. It'll include opening remarks by the mayor, Bobby Lamb from Anderson University talking about the importance of youth sports. And then also all of you guys getting on the field. There will be some scrimmages going on. And so we're not going to scrimmage them, but we'll get on the field and actually throwing a pitch out. And so we'll have a catcher for that. Mr. Martinez, I'm looking at you because you were a pitcher. And so I expect you to throw a pretty good pitch.
I can still do it.
Mr. Newton played baseball as well, I know, and Mr. Stewart has played and coached baseball forever, your entire adult life. So I look forward to that opportunity. We will have the media there as well. I know they were interested in that, particularly the pitch side of it. And we'll have plenty of skins, hot dogs for anybody that wants it to walk up, drinks and everything else. So we'll have a good time on that dedication. Look
That's
forward to it.
exciting.
Just add to that, in my time being on council, it's always been a courtesy of council members to have, when we have dedications, to have the remarks by the sitting council person whose district that in, which is Dr. Thompson, and just curious why she's not on the program.
Bev put this together, and I actually do more than that. I'll offer it to any council member that wants to give remarks.
I'm just saying, I know it's Kyle,
Yep.
I know it's the mayors and John and Matt, but the district that somebody serves, it's just always been a common courtesy that we've always done that, and I just, I know.
Yeah,
Dr. Thompson
anybody,
would love to speak.
Dr. Thompson, of course, is always welcome to give remarks, and the mayor will be facilitating it. And if any other council member wants to give remarks, they're more than welcome to do so. We didn't set a program on this, print it out, just because they usually get blown in the wind. So it's certainly available to any council member that wants to do that. And also, I want to see some good pitches.
Cool. Anything else?
One quick thing. I'm a very good pitcher that y'all just don't know about yet.
You use a pitcher club, that's what they call that club, you know. Win club.
And then, just one more thing too, you have in front of you, up on the roof is open tonight. It's really neat, see it come along and that vision actually happen and council to take that out of the box, thought process, build it, and hoping they would come. We thought we'd get somebody like up on the roof when we presented that to you, but actually getting them has been special. And Andrew and I got called up there the other day to taste a couple of dishes, and they have their folks too, part of Ruth Chris Steakhouse that the hospitality group is under, and we saw they have 50 employees. It's impressive, and the employees they had were extremely impressive. And they had this coach from Atlanta that was there, just quizzing them all on everything you can imagine. It was really cool to see behind the scenes. But they're open tonight. I saw some people up there, and then we're all invited tomorrow night from 5 to 7 to attend a celebration and see the space. So look forward to seeing you guys up there as well.
I was talking to somebody, said they tried to make reservations, and reservations are like 2 weeks out already.
Yeah,
So,
it's going to be
good.
The online comments have been, you know, how do you make a reservation? How do you make a
Exactly.
reservation? It's been exciting to watch.
Oh, good. Yes, ma'am. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, before I make the motion, I'll give a quick shout out to Andrew and David and the city and the chief, along with Lewis. They had the Camellia Ball Saturday.
For sure.
Lewis and his wife Holland were the hosts. Went great. I know some council members there, David, Andrew, Chief Stewart. Obviously, I know they were involved in, you know, streets and, you know, blockades and all that. So it was a great event. I know a lot of council representation and staff was involved.
That's true. Shout out to PD and Fire too
Yes.
for the trucks on Main.
Yep.
There were a lot of
good stuff.
kids. Their school district 5, the
Yep.
most popular one was trying to get on the school bus.
That's right. Hey, anybody who wants to drive, they can. Is that, I'll make the
I'd
motion.
like to,
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Thompson?
I'd like to welcome two ladies in,
Yes.
here tonight. Would you stand and give your names? They're from my district. Would you stand and give your names?
We did hear.
Would you stand and give your names? And thank you for coming to council tonight.
My name is Lynn McGee. It's my friend. Mildred Nance.
And I hope you enjoyed the meeting.
We did.
Good.
Thank you, ladies. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, first by Mr. Duke,
Second.
second by Mr. Lockridge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.